Chosen one, take a breath. Not just the kind of breath that fills your lungs, but the kind that stills your spirit. There is something sacred in this moment. You're not here by accident. You didn't stumble into this message by coincidence. Heaven has been orchestrating this encounter long before you ever realized you needed it. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That quiet pull in your spirit. The sense that something's shifting around you, but you can't quite name it yet. It's not noise. It's not stress. It's not wishful thinking. It's divine recognition. Something in you already knows what your mind is only starting to catch up to. You are standing on the edge of something holy. You're not just approaching a new season, you're approaching a divine appointment. This moment has your name on it. Heaven has scheduled it with the precision of a master clockmaker. And now you're here caught in the tension between who you've been and who you're about to become. This is what it feels like to stand at the doorway of destiny. It's quiet, it's sacred, and it's charged with the weight of purpose. There's something important you need to understand. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are not waiting for a calling. You are the calling. You were chosen before you were ever conscious of what it meant to be chosen. Before your first cry, before your first doubt, before the disappointment, before the closed doors. God already said yes to you. Let that sink in. You were not created for smallness. You were not crafted for survival. The stirring you feel is the Spirit of God, breathing over dry bones, awakening something ancient, something eternal inside you. What you're sensing isn't pressure, it's preparation. It's the sound of heaven opening a gate, not slamming one shut. You felt like you've been waiting, but truthfully, heaven has been waiting on you to recognize the call. There is a rhythm to divine timing, and you've just stepped into it. God is not slow, and He is never late. His promises aren't guesses. They're coordinates. They lead you to places your natural mind would have never considered. You've taken detours. You've wandered. But somehow here you are, back in alignment, without even knowing exactly how you got here. That's grace. And grace is not passive. Grace moves. Grace interrupts. Grace pulls you into rooms you didn't apply for and gives you strength for assignments you never trained for. Grace has been working behind the scenes, preparing you for a blessing that looks nothing like your past. Your past does not disqualify you. Your confusion does not disqualify you. Even your weariness doesn't disqualify you. In fact, it qualifies you. Because God doesn't choose the ones who have everything figured out. He chooses the ones who are willing, the ones who stay soft through storms, the ones who pray even when they don't see answers, the ones who are still standing even if they're standing in silence. You are the one. And maybe no one told you this before, but heaven has been echoing it for years. Through every sleepless night, through every time you kept going when it didn't make sense, through every whisper in your heart that said, there's more than this. That was God speaking. That was your future calling you forward. And now you're standing in it. This moment isn't about hype. It's not emotional fluff. It's sacred confirmation. A reminder that your life is part of something bigger, something being written beyond what you can see. You're not just being prepared to receive something. You're being positioned to become someone. Someone who carries purpose like armor. Someone who walks into rooms and shifts the atmosphere without needing attention. Someone who doesn't just believe in miracles, but becomes one. So pause. Feel that stillness again. That's not emptiness. That's spiritual alignment. That's heaven saying, yes, this is the time. Let every voice that told you to shrink go silent now. Let every fear that said you're not enough bow down now. Let every delay that made you question your worth dissolve now. Because you are not broken. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are becoming. And now that you've recognized this moment for what it truly is, it's time to go deeper. Because before the blessing comes into your hands, it begins in your heart. And that's where we're going next. Chosen one, before anything changes around you, something must change within you. The blessing you're sensing, the one that's been whispering to your spirit, it's real. But it doesn't begin with open doors or full accounts. It begins with alignment. Not just external alignment with the right people or opportunities, but internal alignment with who God says you are. This is the work that no one sees. The part where God doesn't build around you, He builds within you. And if you're honest, you've felt it. The quiet tension, the stretching, the letting go of pieces of yourself that no longer fit. You felt a shift in how you think, in what you tolerate, in the way your spirit no longer settles for what once felt comfortable. That's not frustration. That's formation. God isn't punishing you with silence. He's training your ears to hear Him clearly. He's not withholding the blessing to test your patience. He's deepening your roots so that when the wind comes, and it will come, you won't be moved. You may have been asking, why is this taking so long? But heaven has been asking. Can you carry what you're asking for without being crushed by it? What you're stepping into won't be lightweight. It will carry weight, not just responsibility, but legacy. And before God gives you more, He makes you more. Not louder, not flashier, but stronger, wiser, clearer. Because a skyscraper blessing needs a steel-reinforced foundation. That's what this season has been about. The pruning, the refining, the nights where the silence felt endless, the seasons where things felt stuck even though you were doing all you knew how to do. Those were not delays, they were blueprints. You weren't being ignored. You were being instructed. Every moment of not yet was actually a whisper of, I'm building you. You are not the same person who began this journey. And thank God for that. The version of you that prayed for breakthrough would have panicked under the pressure of it. But the version of you that's emerging now, they are ready. Don't rush this. Don't despise it. This is the sacred middle where God forges identity, where you learn how to walk in peace when nothing makes sense, where you learn how to trust God when the numbers don't add up, where your obedience stops being reactive and starts becoming instinct. This is where true abundance begins, not in the manifestation, but in the mindset. Because when you think like a child of God, you stop negotiating with fear. You stop begging for scraps at tables that were never meant for you. You stop asking permission to take up space in a room God has already assigned your name to. Chosen one. God is not preparing just to give you something. He is preparing you to become someone who can hold it without folding. He's stripping away the noise, peeling back the old lies, dismantling every identity you built out of survival. Because where you're going, you won't need the armor you wore in the wilderness. You'll need truth. You'll need clarity. You'll need stillness. And here's the truth. You're not unqualified. You're under construction. You're not broken. You're being built. God is not done with you. He's just getting started. And the most important part of the structure isn't the top floor. It's the foundation, the depth, the hidden part that holds everything else up. That's what He's been working on. Not just your gifts, but your heart. Not just your dreams, but your discipline. Not just your calling, but your capacity. So if it's been quiet lately, if it's felt like God pressed pause, don't mistake silence for absence. Builders are always quietest during the foundational phase. You're in the phase where heaven is laying stone after stone. Character, endurance, discernment, patience, humility. These are the materials being embedded into your spiritual architecture. Because this next chapter will demand a stronger you. And you won't rise to it because you forced it. You'll rise to it because you were formed for it. Chosen one, the inner work is the real work. Let it finish what it started. You are being shaped not to impress the world, but to partner with heaven. And once the foundation is strong, the structure will rise fast. So get ready. Because what comes next isn't just breakthrough, it's becoming. And it starts here deep within, where only God can see. Chosen one, now that your spirit is awakening and your foundation is forming, let's talk about what's really coming. This blessing, this billionaire blessing, it's not what the world calls wealth. It's bigger than money. It's deeper than status. It's louder than recognition and quieter than applause. It is not about excess. It is about assignment. Heaven is not handing you something flashy to flaunt. Heaven is trusting you with something sacred to steward. You need to understand what kind of blessing this really is. Because if you think it's just about finances, you'll miss the entire purpose. The wealth that's being released is layered financial, yes, but also spiritual, emotional, relational, and generational. This is the kind of blessing that doesn't stop with you, it flows through you. This is kingdom-level abundance, the kind that feeds others, the kind that builds systems, not just moments, the kind that opens doors for people you've never met, because God knows your name and trusts your hands. It's the blessing that turns scarcity into strategy, the kind that makes your life a testimony, not just a timeline. The world teaches that wealth is about how much you keep. But in heaven's economy, wealth is about how much you can carry and release. Think of Joseph. He didn't ask to be elevated. He didn't chase power. But he was faithful in the pit, obedient in the prison, and wise in the palace. And because of that, God gave him access, not for comfort, but for impact. Joseph fed a nation. He preserved bloodlines. He forgave those who betrayed him. His wealth wasn't gold, it was grace in action. That's the kind of blessing coming to you. This is not just increase, it's influence. This is not just about what you can spend. It's about what you can shift. Rooms will open not because of your resume, but because of your reverence. Resources will flow not because you manipulated them, but because you aligned with God's plan. Ideas will come to you that don't make sense on paper, but carry heaven's fingerprints. Strategies will download into your spirit in quiet moments when you least expect them. Divine connections will form where none existed before, and they'll feel like recognition, not networking. That's what happens when heaven decides to bless someone. You don't chase it, you become it. Chosen one, this is the difference between chasing provision and carrying purpose. The billionaire blessing is not a transaction. It is a transformation. It is God saying, I trust you to carry what others would collapse under. It's why he refined your motives, why he checked your heart, why he tested your patience, because he wanted to make sure that when the increase arrived, it would land in soil that could multiply it. You are the soil. And God doesn't plant seed in soil that isn't ready. So yes, there will be overflow. Yes, there will be sudden acceleration. But the purpose of it is clear. This blessing is an activation, not a decoration. It's the kind of blessing that makes your life a vessel for healing, building, funding, releasing. It's the kind of blessing that doesn't need to be announced. Its fruit speaks for itself. You won't have to convince anyone that you're blessed. They'll see it when your generosity shifts atmospheres. They'll feel it when your peace remains steady in chaos. They'll recognize it when doors open and you give the credit to God, not grind. This is not luxury. This is legacy. God is trusting you with more because you didn't stop when you had less. He saw how you gave when it didn't make sense, how you believed when the bank account mocked you, how you held on when no one clapped for your consistency. This blessing is your yes multiplied. It is your obedience returning to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So if you're asking why me, ask instead, why not you? You're not being blessed because you're perfect. You're being blessed because you were faithful. And now heaven is handing you keys, not just to unlock rooms, but to open gates for others. This blessing is generational, strategic, supernatural, and it's being released to those who understand its weight, not just its shine. Chosen one, you are not just receiving wealth. You are being commissioned to carry purpose with power. And the world will be different because you said yes. Now get ready, because with blessing comes movement. And with movement comes resistance. Let's talk about what shows up when the breakthrough gets close. Chosen one, the closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the resistance becomes. This isn't coincidence, it's confirmation. The shaking you feel, the heaviness that seems to come out of nowhere, the sudden doubts, distractions, and emotional swings, that's not weakness. That's spiritual warfare disguised as everyday life. It shows up right before the release. And it's not because you're losing ground, it's because you're approaching it. You're not under attack because you're off track. You're under attack because you're aligned. Because the enemy knows what's coming. He sees the gates opening. He senses the authority rising in you. And he wants to make you question what you already know in your spirit, that heaven has marked this moment for manifestation. Don't fall for the noise. This is where many give up right at the edge. Right before the shift becomes visible, the pressure peaks. That's how it always goes. The contractions get stronger right before the delivery. The storm gets louder right before the sky breaks open. This is the spiritual law of resistance. What's trying to stop you is actually proof that you are almost there. But this time you won't shrink. This time you won't go numb or pull back or convince yourself to settle. Because now you know what's happening. You're not unraveling. You're being sharpened. Every strange mood, every sudden doubt, every mental battle. It's spiritual friction, trying to keep you from stepping into what's already yours. Chosen one, the blessing is already released. But the enemy would love to distract you long enough that you miss it or walk into it with fear instead of faith. This is why your discernment matters now more than ever. Some thoughts are not yours. Some emotions are not yours. They're pressure points meant to pull your eyes off the promise. Don't engage with every feeling that shows up. Just because it knocks doesn't mean you have to open the door. There will be days where it feels like everything is resisting you, internally and externally. But those are the days to stand firmer, not weaker, to pray louder, to trust deeper, to speak from identity, not insecurity. You're not being tested because God is unsure of you. You're being tested to show you what's been built in you. You are stronger now. You don't panic the way you used to. You don't spiral the way you used to. That's not by chance. That's by design. God has been preparing you for this moment of pressure. He knew it would come, and He already equipped you with the peace to withstand it. Not a fragile, shallow peace, but a deep, anchored peace that doesn't move when the winds blow. You don't need to rebuke every storm. Sometimes you just need to outlast it. Because resistance can't cancel what heaven has already approved. It can only delay those who don't understand what it is. But you do now. You're not shaken. You're locked in. And if you feel overwhelmed right now, pause. Remember who you are. Chosen, appointed, fortified by grace. God is not surprised by this opposition. He's using it to carve out strength in you, to show you what kind of warrior you've become, to prepare you for the weight of influence you're about to carry. You've already won battles that no one saw. You've already passed tests that would have broken others. And if the pressure is rising, it means the elevation is closer than ever. So hold your ground, not because of how strong you are, but because of who is holding you. The same God who promised is the same God who protects. The same God who called you is the same God who covers you. He did not bring you this far to leave you vulnerable. He brought you this far so you would recognize your own authority. This resistance is not the end. It's the indicator that the end of waiting is near. You are not at risk of losing the promise you are at the threshold of living it. Chosen one, don't give in to fear. Don't bow to confusion. Don't trade your inheritance for temporary comfort. Because what's ahead of you is worth every ounce of endurance. And now, with your spirit focused and your footing firm, it's time to walk boldly into the real reason you've been trusted with this blessing. Not just to carry it, but to release it for generations. Let's go there. Chosen one, you've been refined. You've been prepared. You've stood through storms, pressed through silence, and now you're ready to carry what this blessing was always meant to become. Not a prize, a purpose. Not just breakthrough for you, but breakthrough through you. Because the blessing that's being released isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of your assignment. Heaven didn't send this into your life so you could build a throne. Heaven sent this so you could build a bridge. You are stepping into legacy now, into territory that outlives your name, into influence that transforms atmospheres without needing applause. You're not being elevated to be impressive. You're being elevated to be effective. This is the difference between receiving and releasing. The blessing isn't stopping with you. It's starting with you. You've asked God for more, and He's giving you more than provision. He's giving you a pattern, a way to carry increase that unlocks doors for others, a way to use your influence to heal, build, protect, restore, and multiply. Because when heaven blesses someone, it's never random. God is strategic. His favor lands on the faithful, on the willing, on the ones who say yes when it's uncomfortable, on the ones who pray in private and give when no one's looking, on the ones who walk away from noise so they can hear heaven clearly. You are that person, and now you are becoming a blueprint. Your life is shifting from survival to supernatural supply. You will fund visions, speak life into desolate places, break cycles that ran through your family for generations, rewrite stories that used to end in lack. You will walk into rooms and not just influence people, you will elevate them. Because your presence is not ordinary. It's an assignment, and heaven has built you for this. You were never meant to stay hidden. You were meant to carry light. Not the kind that draws attention, but the kind that drives out darkness. The kind that brings clarity where there was once confusion. The kind that gives people permission to believe again. And the more you walk in your calling, the more you'll see the ripple. Your yes will unlock other people's yes. Your obedience will create opportunities you'll never even witness. Your legacy won't be measured in accolades. It will be measured in lives changed. This is what the billionaire blessing really is. Not the numbers in your account, but the impact from your hands. You are becoming a vessel of divine overflow. Not the kind that boasts, but the kind that builds. And that means you no longer walk into rooms asking, "What can I get?" You walk in asking, "What am I here to release?" Favor is not just falling on you. It's flowing through you. God is handing you resources for a reason, influence for a reason, strategy for a reason. And that reason is always connected to others. This is the kind of wealth that leaves behind a trail of healing. The kind of favor that shows up quietly, does the work, and points to heaven. The kind of legacy that makes your children's children say, "Because they said yes, our lives were never the same." That's what you're walking into. A life that reflects heaven. A flow that doesn't run dry. A clarity that doesn't come from logic, but from deep, holy trust. And when it gets quiet again, and it will remember this, you were trusted with the blessing because of how you handled the silence. That season wasn't wasted. It trained you for this one. So as you move forward, stay grounded in gratitude. Gratitude keeps you aligned. Gratitude protects the posture of your heart. Gratitude reminds you that none of this is about control, it's about partnership. God chose you not because you had all the answers, but because you were willing to walk with Him while you waited for them. Chosen one, it's your time. Time to build. Time to bless. Time to release what's been growing in your spirit all along. The shift has already begun. You are walking into a flow that is steady, sacred, and secure. This is not the end of your story. This is the part where heaven opens wide, and you finally step into the life you were always meant to live. Go forward, not as someone hoping it will happen, but as someone who knows it already has.